What's going on, everybody? Around. Sorry if it's a little rough. Well, I'm driving down around the area with roads covered in packed sleet and ice. I can't really see the chat, so whoever's tuning in, I appreciate it. Been a while since I've done anything. Sort of just cruising around. Four-wheel high, no problem at all. In four-wheel high. Good to see everybody. Bonnie, Scott. Sorry if the camera is a little shaky. I don't really have a good mount system for this thing. I typically don't do this sort of thing, but I figured since the roads were so shoddy, I'd get out and try it. Yeah, this stuff is packed down pretty good. There's some people out on the roads with two-wheel drives. Front wheel drives are okay, but of course, four-wheel drive, and a big, heavy three-quarter ton pickup is really no problem. Hey, Jake. Hey, Buzz. Good to see you. So yeah, we're getting some light snow right now. Most of the stuff came in last night as far as precip went, but I did a measurement on the back deck this morning, and it was right at a little bit over a half an inch of packed sleet, I would call it. Sorry if the camera's shaking, y'all. Does it look okay on y'all's end? Is it shaking real bad or no? Yeah, Buzz, Oklahoma and Texas are pretty much the same now. Up there around Oak City and North, they got hammered pretty good, I think. Tulsa got it pretty good. Yeah, I had a little bit of an ice drift up against my garage door. Took a minute to get it loose. Probably about an inch and a half to 2 inches thick. was pretty well welded to the foundation or the driveway, so I had to kind of bust it up and get it open. Is my camera shaking real bad? Can y'all tell me in the chat? Okay, thanks, Bonnie's. Anyway, yeah, I haven't done a whole lot in a while, so figured I'd just get out and drive since it was relevant with the weather and whatnot. Most of the stores around here are open. Um, the roads are passable. You just got to be careful and go slow. It's like anything else. All right, appreciate y'all letting me know. Hello, Alifa. But yeah, I think we're supposed to stay sub freezing through tomorrow and even into Tuesday morning. So, it's still going to be a real deal here. They put this little bullshit coating of sand out, which is pretty much a joke. It's not accomplishing very much. But it's pretty rough driving still. Some of these people are trying to create a trail in the center, which is, fine, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty rough. So I guess it's pretty boring. A lot of people checked out already, but hell, I'm just driving around showing everybody the surroundings. Not real exciting, I guess, but yeah, Bonnie's. We're gonna stay below freezing for at least another 24 hours. I think for sure in my area. But most of the grocery stores are open, gas stations are open, auto parts. Uh, yeah, we typically do get ice here, Buzz. Down here, we don't get a lot of snow. It's typically, ice. It's good to see everybody, the people that popped in. Like I said, I don't do a whole lot anymore. Just busy with work and whatnot. I watch a lot of videos. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I watch Buzz. When he pops one open, and then ETP. If he's on here, I see him quite a bit. Pinball, of course. Bear Independent. Like those guys. I like to have relevant topics if I'm doing a video. It's so watered down. A lot of people just do a video for every little thing, and I'm like, I don't really have time for that. This is probably going to all, even though we're not going to drop, below freezing for a day or so, or go above freezing, I should say, for a day or so. I think tonight when it gets really, really cold, it's going to probably refreeze some of this stuff that was down to pavement, and then be really bad for a Monday morning commute. But yeah, I had all my backups ready, had my all my battery powered stuff ready to go. Never lost power, thank God. A lot of people did in the northeast corner of Texas, but yeah, we never lost power. But again, I was ready to go, and I guess better. The old saying's true. Better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. So it's kind of the approach I took. But having been putting this stuff together for years and years, it doesn't make any sense not to have it out and be ready. And typically, if it's going to go out, it's going to be in the middle of the night, so you got to act fast. But yeah, we just did the normal stuff. Open the cabinets, keep the heat in the walls, go into the wall cavity and whatnot. Cover the water spigots with the styrofoam caps and all that. I think if you just start early, you got to capture that heat in the interior of the house before it starts to get super cold. If you wait till it's already below freezing outside to start opening cabinets, you might be a little bit late. But I started doing it like a day before the cold hits, and it seems to do really well because you're already conditioning that environment early, if that makes sense. By the way, can everybody hear me? Please give me a thumbs up or something if you can hear me. Like Starbucks is open, Chipotle maybe, I don't know. Could be. All right, thanks, Bonnie. Thanks, TH2. But yeah, had it all ready to go. Even had one going in the garage by my plumbing out there. And it got pretty damn cold. I think it was down to 10 or 11 last night. Had to come out and had my windshield, of course, covered with plastic, and that helped. But I still had to, bust some loose around the windshield wiper motors and whatnot, all that. So I'm heading south here, out of the city of Frisco. All the four-wheel drive trucks are doing well. Even the two-wheel drive stuff seems to be doing okay if they take it easy. I think it's the ones that get overconfident, thinking they hadn't spun out yet. They give it a little bit more torque than it needs, and they spin out eventually because the roads are still pretty treacherous. It's all about speed control and keeping your distance. The coldest I've ever experienced here was back during the 2021 Ice Mageddon, and I think the coldest it got down to was just right at zero, I think, which is pretty damn cold for us. The bridge is coated with sand. I'm not sure that's accomplishing very much, but they're trying. Had a lot of the interstates closed down for a brief period last night. Of course, the elevated roadways like the on ramps, off ramps, and overpasses were pretty bad off with some of those big rigs. They just couldn't get up the hill. But 2021 was a good dry run. I had everything I needed then too. But I think as preppers, we can always, no matter how much we know or how much we've educated ourselves or learned from other people on this topic, we can always learn more. And that's kind of my approach to everyday life, even at work. I learn stuff every day, good and bad, to be honest. I don't have it licked. There's a lot I can still learn, but it's nice to not have to run out and spend a bunch of money on survival items, heat, extra power, things like that. If you do it piece by piece, little by little, early enough, you can do it affordably and have yourself ready to go. But it has to be part of your focus. You can't just talk about it. You got to do some of it. But yeah, they raided the shelves like always. My God, I mean, even the homeless have 3 days worth of food, I think. But some of these people, my God, they act like it's just going to be it, and you know, to me, that's crazy. I mean, I'll go out, but my idea of going out when they're doing all that apocalypse stuff is just to watch them. Yeah, Bonnie's, I get that too. Up in Arkansas and Tennessee, they got some issues with all that. We do have some tall trees in some places in Texas, East Texas primarily. Around West Texas, they don't have a lot of tall trees. It's mainly bushes, some big oaks, but generally speaking, the big trees here are in East and South Texas. But yeah, it's nice to have your stuff handy. Like technically, I didn't have to go out at all. I'd go out and start my truck, keep it warm. It's a diesel, so you kind of got to be careful with those things. But um, you know, so far so good. And make sure it's full. Always, one of the biggest things I always do is top off my fuel tank. And I may have to top it off every day, but I keep that tank full. You know, I never had plans to really to bug out, and there's a time for that, I guess. But I always leave enough fuel in my truck to get to the ranch. If I can get to the ranch from wherever I'm at, that's kind of how I gauge my fuel. The ranch is about 3.5 hour drive, so I got to be able to make that trip no matter where I'm at. And that's sort of how I gauge my fuel. My fuel top off fill up rate is, do I have enough to get to the ranch? And so that's kind of how I I guess maintain my fuel situation, if that makes sense. We're approaching one of the tollways here. Get on there and see what's happening. See, my biggest thing is not driving. My biggest thing is other people. So this guy just pulled out in front of me. We're going to have to get around him. I want him out of my way. But yeah, my typical driving on this stuff is not an issue with me. I mean, I'm careful and I don't try to hot dog it and whatnot, but um, it's the timid drivers that are going a little bit too slow in the left lane or in your way, if you will. Um, like somebody wants to go fast, I'll move over and get out of their way and let them go. It's fine. Go ahead. Yeah, it's true, Bonnie's. Yeah, I've got a whole winter setup that I throw in my vehicle when it's this time of year, these conditions. Sort of, sort of seasonal, right? But in this type of situation, I like a heavier, more robust bus pickup. And this Chevy 2500 with the Duramax gets her done. I'm in 4 high right now, and that's, really that's just to sort of control the vehicle. I could I could drive pretty fine in this situation, but having it 4 high just allows me to control the vehicle better on turns, and then starting from a stop, obviously. We'll get on the tollway here and see what's going on. Unfortunately, in DFW, if you want to get anywhere in a reasonable amount of time, you got to get on a tollway. That's just how it is. I don't like it, but it is what it is. All right, so it looks like we got 1 lane out of 4. Pretty cleared off here. We're heading west on 121 Sam Rayburn, going from the Frisco Plano area to towards the Colony, which is a suburb of Plano, Frisco, I guess you could say. It's a pretty happening place. If you're ever looking to come out here and do something, there's quite a bit to do. There's a dump truck throwing sand out. Yeah, and they also spread out this brine stuff, this liquid brine that's supposedly really good. I don't know. I guess it's okay. But I know Arkansas got it pretty good. Man, they were getting slammed. The roads were going to hell fast last night. I was watching Max Velocity. I love that Weather Channel. He's really good. And I think he streamed for 12 hours live last night, or yesterday and last night. Put on a pretty good, detailed observation of what was going on. Cameras everywhere, a lot of reach. He's got a lot of reach on that channel. But again, it's just cold and everything's sort of sticking. It's probably the way it's going to be. I'm going to head back north here towards the house. Got a couple snow plows out, looks like. So yeah, this is where they brine the overpasses, on ramps, off ramps. Still slushy though. Again, I think it's just all about controlling speed, honestly. Yeah, having been, in the wild and, being a hunter, and you're working on, I'm not going to say I'm a rancher, but of course, having access to property, agricultural, rural land, you need a 4-wheel drive now and then. So I've just, for probably about the last 20 years, I've just decided that that's just what I'm going to have. They're valuable in these types of situations, and I don't want to be stuck somewhere. It's kind of the way I look at it. Hey, Danielle, good to see you. Also, Tamara, good to see you. Good to see everybody. I haven't seen you folks in a while. I mean, I've seen you on other channels, of course, from time to time. But anyway, I just thought I would get out here, like I said, and give a drive around report. everybody still hear me okay? Cool, cool, cool. This is the Star. This is where the Cowboys are headquartered over here on the left. Whoop-de-doo, I know. Looks like the sun's trying to come out, but I don't think it's going to happen. They already canceled all the schools here in North Texas for tomorrow. They did that on Friday or Saturday. Went ahead and just pulled the plug. Because I think tomorrow is going to be actually pretty bad. I think, like most places, they look at the main issue with closing schools is, can the buses get out and pick up kids safely and get them to school? They don't want the liability. So it's kind of how a lot of this stuff goes. Of course, the tollways, around here, those are all privately owned, so they're typically in better shape and better maintained, right? So all the plowing work and brine work and cleanup work is done by a private company versus the state or the city. And the tollways are typically better all around for driving, but you got to pay for it. But like I said, if you want to get anywhere in DFW at a rapid pace, you better take a tollway because you can go other ways, but it's going to take you a while. Like on using tollways, I can get to Fort Worth in about 45 minutes, provided there's no, snafus. Yeah, but there's a lot of industry coming in here. They're building a Universal Studios park in Frisco as well. That's underway currently. Just a lot. Again, the Cowboys are headquartered here. The PGA is headquartered here now. You got the FC Dallas Soccer Club. You've got the Frisco Rough Riders, which is the uh, Rangers Double A team. Uh, you've got, I think, the Mavericks D League team plays here. It's just a lot going on. So they've got a lot of, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of road building. It's just a lot happening here. It was a little bitty town with two ranches at first, and it's outgrown that for sure, and sort of morphed into something that I'm really not very fond of currently. So it's just, I'm ready to get out further. But you can see all the cranes, all the construction. They're expanding the Toyota Stadium, which is the FC Dallas Stadium. Right now, you can see the cranes over there to the right. This is downtown Frisco. Anyway, Main Street. Lots of hospitals. Hey, Hey Danielle, I used to live in Lubbock. I love it. It's one of my favorite places. It's a great place to raise kids. I love going back out there. Lived in Abilene and Lubbock. Both were great. Prefer Lubbock. I love the West Texas vibe. I love the people. Again, it's a great place to raise kids. Very fortunate to have done that. As long as you don't mind sand and wind, you'll love Lubbock. I used to find sand in the refrigerator. It's always windy. Yeah, I'm just driving around, so hopefully I'm not boring you too much. Yeah, I've spent some time out there in Littlefield and Brownfield as well. Midland, Odessa, Panhandle. I love it out there. Yeah, and the unemployment thing is unfortunate. I think it's going to hit all of us eventually. Yeah, you got that right, TH2. Will do. Thanks for the reminder. Looks like Costco's open. That place will be a shit show here in about an hour. All the service roads are still packed. They're not worried about those. Yeah, that's cool, Danielle. Yeah, again, man, I love it out there. If I could make a living, I'd move back to that area in a heartbeat. Going through some VA disability stuff right now, trying to get that straightened out. So that's taking a little bit of my time, but you got to do it. Tired, tired of dealing with things that aren't necessarily my fault. Yeah, these side roads are a little slick. That's good, Tamara. Good for you. But yeah, we've got a ton of medical groups here, a bunch of hospitals here. We're about an hour from the Oklahoma Texas border, right at the Red River. The tollway here is then eventually go all the way to the Red River. It's about, I think it's about halfway there now. So you'll be able to live up around, Whitesboro and Sherman. You'll be able to get down here to Frisco in 15, 20 minutes. But everybody's sick and tired of Dallas, Fort Worth, the cities, and everybody's moving north typically. Some are going south, but people are sick and tired of all the crap and the traffic and whatnot. Yeah, me too, Danielle. It's a pain in the butt. It's like almost like you're going in for a deposition every time you go and do something. But it's going okay so far. It's just you gotta be like it's just it's like a game almost. But there's a lot of good resources out there to prepare you for everything. You just have to invest in the time to uh, learn about it and educate yourself. So this theme park from Universal is right here on the left. Yeah, it's like going in. It's gonna probably, hopefully, double the property values. I'm hoping. You can see it right here. This is part of it, and they've been working on it for probably a year and a half, 2 years. I think that's the hotel, but it's gonna have rides and everything else. I'm waiting for the property values to go up. Then I'm planning to sell this place and get the hell out of here. To be honest, I'll probably end up in southern Oklahoma by the time it's all said and done. Property values are a lot cheaper. You could literally throw a rock across the river and it's sometimes 25% cheaper just because it's not in Texas. But tons of building going on, lots of road infrastructure work. Just mind boggling to see everything going up. Looks like I've got a few more in here. Yeah, I had 25 at one point, but you see these side streets are pretty well covered up still. See, a lot of the front wheel drive vehicles are doing okay. Most of these SUVs are either front wheel drive or all wheel drive now, so they don't have a problem getting around. Again, it's just all about speed control, I think. Yeah, Danielle, there's something to be said for that. I'm kind of the same way. Some of the Oklahoma talk is just tongue in cheek, but uh, the ranch is probably where I'll end up. It's about 3 hours west of 3.5 hours west of Denton, and I guess if you drew a straight line between Wichita Falls and Abilene, it's right in the middle. It's a sort of a family property, which is great. Family members, distant cousins and whatnot, they run cattle on it. But yeah, having lived all over the world, in Europe and whatnot, in the military, and just being all over, just my personal opinion, there's nothing like Texas. Yeah, it is, Danielle. We've worked hard on it. We've, as we, my family members and I have, we've all started spending a little more money on it as we could and do some improvements. We've got, running water, electricity, plumbing, and all that stuff. Bathroom facilities, good secure living. We quite a few of us out there have outfitted shipping containers as cabins, with insulation and again electricity and everything. We have quite a bit of uh, acreage, if you will, and we were working on some other things too as far as water, sources go. We of course got all the city and county utilities, if you will, but as far as water catchment and things like that, we're still working on some of that. Got a little bit of it accomplished. Of course, solar would be nice. It's hard to just scrap all that together, and it's not cheap if you do it right. We've got, of course, wild game out the wazoo out there: deer, birds, pork. Um, wouldn't be a big deal to put a garden in. That's something we probably ought to consider pretty quick. We were talking about doing like a root cellar, some type of underground cool box for, meat and whatnot. Probably what we'd end up doing is just smoking a lot of wild game on the smoker. We've got tons of mesquite. It's probably 3/4 of it. Not 3/4. Maybe 50% of all of it is covered in mesquites, and it's just never ending. You know, it's a good problem to have. We don't buy charcoal. We just pick up mesquite limbs off the ground and burn them, and you got instant charcoal right there. And it's some of the best wood to cook on if you've ever had it. And we just pick it up off the ground. We have a lot of wood stored up, of course, too, for campfires and cooking and whatnot. But for just a quick grilling of some steaks, you can't beat just doing it right over mesquite, right off the field floor. Me personally, to survive a ride out SHTF in Texas, especially out there where the ranch is, I would much rather have to do it in the winter than the summer. It would be a real bitch to try to survive a summer out there with no electricity. Yeah, you could probably do it. Need a damn mosquito net, sleep in, but there are things to think about. But yeah, I'd much rather ride it out in the winter than I had the summer. And another thing too, we got a lot of rattlesnakes. You got to know what the hell you're doing. Okay, this bridge is a little slick right here. But yeah, we literally could walk around our property and pick up deadfall mesquite on the ground already seasoned, probably for a couple years, and not really even put a dent in it. That's how much we got. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it's a great resource to have. To not even have to pick up a chainsaw and burn wood for a couple years, man, it's a good problem to have. Oh yeah, Danielle, I'm being careful. Doing about 30 miles an hour right now. Four-wheel drive high. Again, it's a lot less worried about myself than I am the people around me. Try to keep my distance. Matter of fact, the power company came out and cut a bunch of mesquites up on the power line areas, right of ways. And hell, they even stacked it up for us on the fence lines. That was really nice of them. But we got a couple cords on the ground already cut up and stacked by the power company, which I was shocked. Well, I'm heading back to the house now. I may get out here and do another one tomorrow or something. I don't know yet. But anyway, hey, I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'm sorry it wasn't that exciting. Um, you know, but it's something, I guess. And please don't be a stranger. Check out my videos, like and subscribe, share if you can. And again, I try to do videos that are relevant, not just get on here and do a video every day. I mean, there's so much of that going on. I just not something I'm really fond of doing. I'd rather talk about current events and things that maybe somebody else isn't. People aren't doing every day. Just something different. I don't have anything that interesting to report, but anyway, I appreciate everybody tuning in and stay safe out there. And I may see y'all either maybe tonight or maybe tomorrow. But with that, everybody keep prepping, stack it deep, and remember, long live the Republic.